People are just not the same as they used to be. And something people seem to realize, especially around the age where they graduate high school, is a lot of those people who you thought were going to be there for you, a lot of those people who you thought you were going to be connected with long term, are people that go their own ways, whether it's going to different universities and moving to different states. But people you start to realize really didn't have your best interest to begin with. The only thing you had in common with them was the past. And, of course, in high school, we're forced to be within the confinement of the same few hundred or few thousand people, depending on the size of your high school. But, a lot of the times you start to realize these are not people that you want to associate with through adulthood, whether you've outgrown the friendship, whatever it might be. But the harsh reality is you go into the real world, as we'll call it, and you start to realize how scarce, how rare good, genuine people really are. People look often in the wrong places, number one. I mean, dating apps are not for dating, they're for validation. Social media is not for friendship, it's for validation. And I saw the rise in all this kind of stuff. I saw the rise in social media. When I was my developmental years in the 90s and early 2000s, yes, we had the internet. Yes, we had the rise of that kind of stuff, but it was not as forefront as it is now. And people were a lot different back then. People were not so insecure, caught up in comparing themselves with what everyone else is doing. Like, I've had many friends of mine who they'll want to share their goals with you, which I'm all for that. In a friendship, you should be able to share your goals, and you should be able to share your shortcomings, your successes, whatever it might be. You should not be afraid to be vulnerable even in a friendship if you have real supportive people around you. But these people will only want to share their goals with you. Like, I had a buddy of mine who was from Utah, and I'm here in the Pacific Northwest. He was like that, and he'd only want to talk about money and this kind of stuff and how much he makes, which I think he was straight up lying about how much he made. I mean, he seemed to say he was making, like, I would just, for sake of curiosity, I was looking at the job that he was doing, which I don't want to go into detail about that. There's really no point. But he was off by about 40%. But my point being is that these people want to make themselves look like they're something they're not. Very egocentric and boastful. And I noticed that with the rise of social media, paralleled by this rise of egocentric, self-centered behavior. Wanting to sell yourself on an image that you're really not. Like, social media is fake and pretentious, and that's what a lot of people are being nowadays. Straight up. But anyway, with this friend, right? So I would tell him then my aspirations and goals. This was around the time I was in college, community college, I think at the time. And he would always want to knock it down a peg. He would always want to make very almost like passive-aggressive remarks. I remember there was one time we were talking about cars, right? Because I used to be into cars. I don't really care as much now. But he'd asked me what my dream car was. And I don't remember what model I mentioned, but I mentioned it was some sort of Lamborghini or something like that, right? And he's like, oh, I meant something realistic, insinuating that it's not something that I could achieve, which, by the way, just general kind of rule of thumb here is people like that, people who put limitations on other people, it's quite frankly because they don't see themselves being able to do it. They could not do it themselves, so they don't think anyone else can do it, or they don't want to see anyone else do it. But my point being with this so-called friend, right, was he would do this kind of stuff, little sneaky things kind of here and there. And we were talking about careers and stuff like that. And I mentioned something about neurosurgeons being some of the top earners. By the way, I had no intentions of being a neurosurgeon. I don't want to do that much school. I'm in a field right now that I'm happy with, but that's besides the point. And his response was, oh, you'd never make it doing that. Like, I didn't even mention that I wanted to do that. But again, wanting to knock you down a peg, wanting to see you belittled. And you have to ask yourself, why in the heck would you have these kind of people around you? Why would you have them in your life? Does that sound like someone who wants to see you do well? Does that sound like someone who wants to see you succeed? Number one, they're so busy trying to compete with you that they don't want to see you do better than them. Why would they make these kind of boastful statements? They want to be better than you. They want to be above you. These people are selfish. These people are egocentric. You're not the selfish one for wanting to cut them off. That's self-love. Self-love is not surrounding yourself with toxic people. Understand that. Not surrounding yourself with time wasters or users, which Again, I see a lot of people make this mistake of having those kind of people around them. I'd rather be alone, straight up. I'd rather be alone than be around most of these people. Straight up. But, and it's not just with friendships you see this. It's especially, I would argue, with relationships with women. There was a girl I was talking to a number of years ago where we instantly connected because she's full Greek and I'm half Greek. So we each grew up with the Greek influence in the culture and stuff like that through our childhood. And we had exchanged social media, I think Snapchat. This was around 10 years ago. So Snapchat was really popular back then. And I'd be talking to this girl. Keep in mind, she went as far as commenting under my Instagram pictures, putting heart emojis, essentially trying to insinuate that we're in a relationship. Love bombing, as some will call it. And I would ask this girl, like, hey, let's hang out, let's meet up. We'd make plans, and every time, last minute, she would flake and blow off the plans. Now, me being younger and more naive at the time, if it was me now, I would have just instantly ghosted her. The first time flaking like that, showing you don't respect my time, I would never have continued that kind of interaction. But I kept talking to this girl, and this went on for about 3 weeks until I was like, all right, you know what? I put the foot down. I blocked her on everything. But my point being, guys, is she was trying to sell this image that we were in some kind of relationship, or she was interested, with the love bombing and stuff like that. Like I said, going as far as to comment under my personal Instagram, which is on private, and I keep pretty much my close friends and family on there, trying to act like we're in a relationship. So whether that makes her a covert narc, I don't know, because like I said, I didn't actually end up hanging out with this girl. I didn't end up interacting with her outside of Snapchat, really. But just using me because she was bored, using me for some kind of purpose. And I've seen that a lot now. A lot of women using men for specific purposes. They have this guy because he's a good conversationalist. This guy to hang out with in person because he's fun to be around. This guy to go to the gym with. Like, I've seen crazy stuff like that, guys. Using men for different purposes. But again, in general, using people. Having no plans to ever build something with them. But wanting all their time in the world. For your own selfishness and your own validation and your own, insecurity. Really, that has to stem from insecurity, extreme insecurity. If someone's wasting your time like that and needing that kind of validation, they are insecure. And that's all you see nowadays on dating apps. That's all you see nowadays on social media, both being a waste of time. And it's even worse too, because a lot of the people, because let's be honest, we all know, it's no secret how toxic the dating market is. We all know that. Anyone who's been around long enough knows that. But what's even worse is people that are supposed to be your friends are not being there for you, are not having your best interest. They're wanting to compete with you. And I see, again, people making a big mistake of confusing friendship and business. Like, for example, the person at the pawn shop or jewelry store who remembers your name, that's not your friend. That's someone who's trying to sell you something. A lot of people I see falling for that kind of stuff. And I'll tell you something from my experience, those kind of friendships which I'm all for collaboration. I'm all for building something. You can build a business together. That's great. I'm all for forms of brotherhood and stuff like that. But understand something, from my experience, a lot of those kind of friendships and interactions that only involve talking about money and comparing and contrasting stuff like that, those are the first people that'll sell you out. Whether it's literally for money, whether it's for validation, because they never cared about you to begin with. They'll dispose of you when they see something that suits them better. That's not a genuine friendship. Yet that's what so many people are caught up with nowadays. Like, it literally reminds me, if you guys have ever been to these like office meetings, work meetings, where everyone's there, they're comparing themselves, who lives in the nicest neighborhood, and talking about the cars they drive, the watch they wear, all this kind of stuff. It's all just a big boasting fest. Nobody cares about one another. They just care about their own kind of validation and stuff like that. Why would you want to be around people like that? Seriously, I ask, why would you want to be around people like that? People who are haters. People who, again, don't want to see you do well because they don't want to see you succeed. They don't want to see you do better than they are. Even I was in a call with my little brother who, luckily I have him who I'm close with. But there was someone else in the call, and he was asking my brother about his salary, about how much money he makes, which, number one, that's disrespectful. What is it saying? Never ask a man their salary, never ask a woman their age, whatever the saying might be, right? Just off the bat, and this is not someone that my brother knows very well, asking him about his salary, and then wanted to mention his salary. And I'm like, what is wrong with people? What is wrong with people always wanting to compare and contrast and wanting to be something that they're not, wanting to act like they're some big shot? Like, social media has done so much damage to people. I swear, social media has done more damage to people than they have any idea. You know, you're better off like what I was doing as a kid, what I did throughout my teen years, spending upwards of even 12 hours a day playing video games. I don't care what anyone says. That's way healthier than scrolling on social media. And we're just seeing the start of it. I mean, guys, this has only been, prominent for the last 5 to 10 years in our lives. We're just seeing the beginning of where this can lead people. And again, why it's made it so difficult for people to find genuine friendships, people to find genuine interactions nowadays. Like, seriously, do you think these people that are on your follow list, I have a few, I think I have a few hundred people on my personal Instagram. The amount of people that I talk to regularly on a daily basis, I could count with one hand. One of those being my brother. So it's like, people seem to not understand that all this validation is for nothing. It's empty. It's surface level. It's not going to lead anywhere. And the even worse part is when you do find people, a lot of the times, who you can hang out with, it's involved around raves, nightclubs, bars, substances, things that are no good, things that are not going to lead anywhere good. And again, in my case, most people that I talk to nowadays, outside of family and stuff like that, are people that I met through jiu-jitsu, which, again, it's good to get into hobbies where you find like-minded people. Because when I was in my very early 20s, that's all people seemed to want to do, was engage in the nightclub stuff, was engage in we'll call it the nightlife stuff, whatever you want to call it. And a lot of men are done with it now. They're seeing it for what it is. I don't want to have anything to do with that. And it was seemingly everyone else was doing it, especially around the ages of 18 to, which you can't really be 18 and be that, but you know what I mean, 21, 22, 23. Seemingly everyone around that age was doing that kind of stuff. Genuine friendships are harder and harder to come across. And I'll say this too, guys, something I wanted to mention earlier in the video. This is from my experience. Like I mentioned, the people that are haters and stuff like that. If you have any sort of goal or financial, and which again, why I was so annoyed by the guy, it was my brother. He told me he was offended after the call. The guy asking him his salary. Financial stuff, goals in life. I'll be real, guys. Unless you have someone that you truly know has your back, you're better off just keeping that kind of stuff to yourself, like straight up. Financial stuff, goals in life. Just put your head down, put the work in. Don't worry about people's opinions because they're going to derail you. Like, I've known many people in life who had all the potential in the world, but they had some hater around him. Whether it was a friend or, unfortunately, in some cases, I've seen even family member who were trying to derail them from that goal. They could have been very skilled at these kind of things. They had, again, like I mentioned, they had all the potential in the world and work ethic, but they had hating people around them, and they got discouraged. Now, I would say one thing, if you do have those kind of people around you, if anything, which I think you're better isolating yourself from it, but if anything, just use it for fuel. You shouldn't base your life around other people proving them wrong, but if you're going to use it for anything, if you're forced around, just use it for fuel or just ignore it, just brush it off. Because that's pretty much what I do nowadays. Number one, I don't surround myself with people like that, but number two, if I were to come across some hater energy like that, I would just brush it off. I want nothing to do with the person because there's a lot of, quite frankly, weird people who just do not have your best interest, that are going to want to reach out to you when it is beneficial for them, whether they need something, literally need something, whether it's a favor or emotional support. but they don't care about you genuinely. They're just using people. Just like a lot of these women nowadays are wasting guys' time and using people. So again, that's going to come with discernment. That's going to come with experience, being able to realize and point that kind of stuff out. My point, guys, is that because I knew how it was for me. I really feel terrible for a lot of men, especially young men, trying to make friends nowadays, trying to date nowadays, whatever you want to call it. But either way, guys, appreciate you viewing the video. Hope you guys have a good one.